Welcome to Solar Surge Live. My name's Andrew, Director of Solar Surge, and my offsider, my brother, Luke Mitchell, our qualified technical person. Say hello, Luke.
How you going, guys?
Shoot him a Gavin. Happy Gilmore. All right, guys, we are talking solar myths, solar battery myths that are costing you money today. So I've got a few here. I won't read them all out, and we won't have a bit of a chat about them all, but there are quite a few myths out there that people get caught up and make, I suppose, bad mistakes, incorrect mistakes, or they're just complete flat out lies, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
correct.
exactly. Okay, so the first one is that I actually heard this from a customer that said, oh, no, my roof's not north. They had sort of like an east-west roof. Right? Oh, no, I don't have a north-facing roof, so there's pointless of me getting a solar and a battery system because it's not going to produce enough power, and you need to have a north-face roof, and that's it. And I was like, whoa, Jesus, that's a bit full on. No, that's not right. What are your thoughts?
I've never had a north-facing roof.
Yeah. In what world do we?
You're
pretty lucky if you are, but in practicality terms, like they've got blocks facing all different east, west, south. You're not going to get a perfect north-facing roof.
No. So my personal property that I've live in doesn't have a north aspect.
So why doesn't have to be just north? Like, why is that just false? Because there's a lot of people that have east, west. Some people have south. So let's talk about what the solution is and why it doesn't need to be north.
Well, east-west will work perfectly fine.
Why?
Well, it's just the sun going obviously in an arc. The east in the morning, it'll actually be higher production. So north will give you sort of a level production during the day. It is not as high as what an east face would, and then a west face would. So.
And that's because of the directionality of the sun.
Because the sun going arcing over the sky. So
All
it's
right,
going to be in the morning, you have the east, and then in the afternoon, you come over to the west-hand side.
Would east and west roof actually be better than a north roof, considering that most of our power that we use is in morning and late afternoon? So we're actually generating power when we need it on the morning and then all in the afternoon. Or is that just, doesn't come into the equation?
It does. It does come for different customers would work in different ways. It all depends on your energy usage, to be quite frank. But the myth of only north works is definitely busted.
Yeah, so it's busted.
Yeah, I have never. As I said, I've got an east-west roof, and I produce a fair chunk of solar production.
What about those poor people who are crying in a corner, having meltdowns because they've got a south roof?
South still works. It's just a diminished production. Like you still, it all works.
Do you know what I normally do? And then you tell me based on you assessing our, installations and our system sizing. I take a north face. If I'm putting on south, I take a north, what it's going to produce on a north, put it on the client's south, and then we usually throw in an extra 4 or 5 panels to cover the loss of production.
That'd be more than what the north has done. I've actually done that recently.
Yeah, exactly. And so what I say to customers, if you've got no choice, you just have to put a couple of extra panels on because you're not going to get the production like you would. And look, it's in the grand scheme of things, it's lasting. Panels last 30 years now. Yeah. You're not talking like 5, 10 grand, 10 grand. You might be talking maybe $1,000 extra, give or take, depending on how many extra panels. But you're not talking that a hell of a lot of panels. The only time that I see that a system will not produce power is one, if it's covered in shade by a second story next door neighbor, can't do anything about that. Or two, if it's a south roof and it's extraordinarily steep angle.
Correct. Yep.
Outside of that, we really have a solution for everyone, don't we?
Well, there's different ways that the customers can be helped. It doesn't have to be north. We've got east, west, south, as we said, it's a diminished production, but there still is production there.
Yeah, it's quite a good amount, especially just on the normal, if it's a normal tilted roof. Like, you actually get quite a lot. So busted, right?
Yeah.
Busted. All right. So unless you've got shade on your panels or you've got a monster sort of tilt or pitch, definitely busted. The next one is one that's actually quite common. And today we're recording on a day where it's not amazing weather. Mm-hmm. Does that mean I'm getting zero production?
No.
So it still works?
Yes.
Why?
It just because you're still getting production of the panel. It's going to be diminished because it's not a bright sun shining down on your panels. I think the analogy is when you're if you're going out to the beach on a cloudy day, you're still going to get burnt, aren't you?
Oh, did you just come up with that?
I just came up with it right then.
And it's true. If anyone's been to the beach, I know I haven't put sun cream on, no stress. You come back and you're like, oh, wait a second, I actually got a little bit fried.
Yep.
And I had a customer that we went and saw, and this is that we saw them after they'd saw someone else, and it blew my mind that the other company said this. So they actually said, well, in winter, how many sunlight hours do we normally get? And it was about 10, you know what I mean? Maybe 6:30 to 5 or something like that, 10 and a half hours. And then in summer, how many do you get? And there was like 5 till, about 7. So it was like 14 hours. They actually said to the customer, and the customer was adamant on this until I corrected them. And they were like, the company said, well, look, we don't want to use 14 hours of sunlight because, that's summer. So let's be conservative and just use 10 hours of sunlight. And let's just assume that we only got the same amount of sunlight as winter all year around. And the client was like, oh, that makes sense. Because if you didn't know better, you'd be like, that makes sense. But we're assuming that there's going to be sunlight for 10 hours every single day. No clouds, no rain, no storms. And in actual fact, they're overestimating how much solar production they're going to use. So what we do is we only use about 4 hours of sunlight. And that means that when it's rainy and cloudy like this, you're still going to be getting the minimum production that we advise. And that's how I say every single person should make their decision, is you make your decision based on conservative estimates to account for days like today. It will work. It just won't work as efficiently. And if someone's system sizes correctly, they take all this into account and you're completely covered. That's what I would say. So to me, it's busted. How about you?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely busted.
Definitely busted?
Yeah.
Excellent. Fantastic. Now, this one here, we've all got a little bit of experience about it. This is about feed-ins. So this one here is the feed-in tariff, which is what you sell your solar back to the grid for, basically pays for the solar and battery itself.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Just headbutted my microphone then. Why? So back in the day, if everyone knows the feed-in tariffs, and you can correct me, but this is the way I understand it as well, is we call them early adopters. People that buy a product before anyone else, people that get into something before anyone else. When the solar industry first came out, these people that jumped in were early adopters, right? Because solar was a new industry. What the government did to incentivize people into getting it was, to guarantee a high feed-in, 50-cent feed-in tariffs, 47-cent feed-in tariffs. So that meant that it attracted people it normally wouldn't attract. What happens when an industry gets more popular and it gets steam and then it becomes more mainstream? They don't need to incentivize as much.
They shut that feed-in tariff down very quickly.
Absolutely.
Because they realized they made a massive mistake.
Absolutely. So it went 50 cents, 47, 43, 40, 30, 20. You can see where I'm going, right? Now, I said it's basically about 4 cents, and you corrected me and said, actually, Andrew, I'm getting
3 cents.
So the thing that annoys me so much now is the fact that, let's say it's 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Let's say you didn't have your batteries, like a lot of customers don't. Let's say you didn't have your batteries and you're selling it back to who you're with?
AGL.
AGL. Massive company. A lot of you will be with them. Let's say Origin, doesn't matter. Let's say you're selling back between 3 and 5. Let's just say you sell back 10 kilowatts. So you are going to have 10 kilowatts times 3 cents. You're going to have 30 cents in your hot little hand. 30 cents. And then when the sun goes down and you're then cooking dinner and your panels aren't producing power, you're going to be renting it back for around 33 cents.
Yeah, I think
40
it's even,
cents.
I think it's even higher because, I think it's about 36.
36 cents. So that's more than 1,000% return. So you're getting 30 cents and you're buying it back for about $4 2 hours later, every single day. So this is why solar feed-ins do not cover, the solar itself. The only way that you can have a full energy independent system to have it coverage is have that going back into a battery to store it to offset your night use. It's the only way. We're not talking about 10 years ago or even 5 years ago when the feed-ins were around 18 to 20 cents. That was still reasonable because you're only paying about 28 cents a kilowatt, selling back 20 cents. So you only have to sell back a tiny bit more than what you were using. Now you have to sell back. You need a solar farm basically to sell back enough. So this one here is just absolutely busted.
Yeah, I think 15 years ago, you with the higher feed-in rates, you could potentially make it work. But now the problem is there's a lot of people have solar, they've got that excess energy going in and they've got nowhere to put it. So that's why the feed-in tariffs are dropping out.
Yep.
very quickly.
Yep, exactly. Got too much power on the grid anyway. Grid doesn't want it. You don't get paid for it. Get a battery. Duh.
Perfect place to put it.
Duh.
Then use it later for free.
And now this one here gets my blood boiling. I keep headbutting this thing. This one here really gets my blood boiling, and I've got some really strong opinions on it. A cheap quote is a bargain.
Please tell me your opinions. I would love to hear.
Well, I have a saying that the cheapest solar system becomes the most expensive investment when the day it's installed.
Yeah.
So I just can't fathom why people do this. I actually, and sometimes you can't get people out of that frame of mind. I ask them, do you want the cheapest system or do you want it done properly to get you that result? And I sat with a customer with one of the new guys that I was training up, and the customer had a Range Rover. And I'm not talking like a normal Range Rover because they're dear enough. It was the one with those SVRs or whatever. So it was like the V8 supercharged one. And I don't think you're going to get much change out of $250,000 on that thing. And he was talking about saving a couple of $1,000s on his solar system to a company that had 3.2 star reviews. They had a whole Facebook page blasting about bad customer service. And in the end of the day, I'm like, I'm not going to bargain with you over the course of $3,000 when you're sitting with a $250,000 car in your backyard and you're trying to cut penny pinch on putting basically a power station on your house. And he just couldn't get through his head that there's completely different levels within the solar and battery industry, and that going cheap is creating risk. And that's why I have such strong opinions of it, is because there's so many people doing the wrong thing that people are thinking that it's just, they think they're just buying a bag of groceries.
100%. Some of those Google reviews are just crazy, absolutely crazy.
We don't have one bad review from a customer of ours that's proceeded with us. We actually have, and I actually laugh. I show people this. We always say there's always one goose in the bunch, right? And I don't care. We're proud of it. We have a 1-star review, and I'm extremely proud of it. And you know why I'm proud of it is because the customer didn't even own his house and decided to give us a 1-star review because we couldn't do anything for him. Like, oh my God, this is what we're coming down to. And then our other bad review, the only other bad review we have, is because a lady saw one of our door-to-door guys in her Ring cam and she didn't like us in the street. And I always show people this, and I absolutely love. So if you're one of those people that gave us a 1-star, oh no, you've already given us a 1-star. I don't really care. Anyone that actually has done business with us, been installed, our biggest thing that we're going for is our aftercare service, our aftercare team. The fact that you sit down in your office, go through every single deal with a fine-tooth comb, making sure everything is, perfectly positioned, perfectly matched, making sure that the installation's done compliantly, signed off correctly, and just making sure that the process is smooth and the customer's looked after. I don't know any other company that does it is to as depth as us. There's a lot of companies that sell the system and don't install it. A lot of people that install it and don't sell it. There's not a lot of companies that do end-to-end plus focus on aftercare.
But I think the other thing is where the other companies don't. If there is some problem or there is some questioning from the customer, the phone doesn't get picked up.
What phone?
Yeah, exactly. Or emails just bouncing back. So, if there is anything that the customer's got any queries about, we get back to them.
We had a consultant, Dave, one of our guys is great. He was sitting with a customer, and I'm not even going to say the name, but they had a quote, and it was like 9,000 cheaper than us. And then he was like, "Oh God, Andrew, this is cheap." And I looked up the company, and they were getting deregistered by ASIC. And I literally just laughed. I set the deregistration notice. And I was like, mate, well, what more do you need to say? And lo and behold, guess what? The client obviously went with us. So people see the value in
that
making
other company probably wanted their money up front.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and the one and I'm glad you said that. One of the things that we do, and I actually say, a lot of people finance it. Like 90% of our business is people financing through green loans, energy efficient loans, programs. We don't ask for a cent up front. So I say to people, well, look, which company here will do zero deposit? Not only that, get the installation done. Make sure you're happy with the installation, get it all signed off, compliance, commissioned, then log you into the app so you can see it working, see it operating, see the solar producing, see the battery getting charged, see the house load. then call you the next day to make sure everything is hunky-dory, you're happy with everything, the guys left the site clean, the system's working perfectly, you've got no other questions. Then and only then will they then request, that the system gets signed off by yourself. We don't ask for payment until every single step of the process is finished, completed, done, and the client's happy and they can see it. So we don't say, trust us, we give you transparency. And that's what a lot of companies don't do. They get the install done, say, oh, no, pay now before you even leave site, and then all of a sudden your system's not working.
Yeah, I've unfortunately I've seen that happen too much from companies that even I think there was one online they were trying to get the customer to sign off on, and there was no cables at the inverter or battery. It wasn't going to work, and they're trying to get it to sign off to get the rebate. I'm like, it's not going to work, guys.
It's like having no steering wheel in your car. Yeah. Oh my goodness, mate. So busted. Yeah, like cheapest quote increases your risk dramatically. And look, we do have a checklist. So if anyone needs the checklist, email us at solutions@solarsurge.com.au. We'll email you that checklist. If you're not in an area where we service, this is what we send to people to put the company that you're going to choose through this checklist. And it nearly guarantees as low a possible risk to yourself and that you're doing a deal with a reputable solar company. And that's what we do. So anyone that's not in our area, because Australia's a pretty big country, you know what I mean? So we send them this checklist so then that way, people can run their company that they want to go through the checklist. We put ourselves through it as well. Here we go. Another one. Batteries are dangerous. They catch fire.
They are dangerous when they're installed by the wrong company and the wrong installer.
Well, everything's dangerous. I could take this phone and throw it at someone's head. That's pretty dangerous.
That's right. But the technology these days, they have sensors, alarms, and everything. Temperature. It's what the companies have done progressively to make them more safer is
and Australia has pretty high standards. The Clean Energy Council, extremely high testing standards. And I say to people, look, where did you see a battery catch fire? And most 99.999% of the times, I watched a YouTube video with a Tesla or an electric vehicle on fire. And I say, well, look, I can promise you that there's no wheels on these batteries. There's no engine and there's no steering wheel. You can't drive it and crash it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So the only time that there's an issue is when they drive and crash a bloody electric vehicle. And then these ones are even safer. So the lithium iron phosphate, which is a more stable compound, when installed by a qualified person that knows what they're doing, I would say they're probably one of the safe. Look, you wouldn't put it, you've got 2 young kids, right?
Yeah.
Would you have a battery if it was unsafe?
No.
You know what I mean? Exactly. So to me, this one is just misinformation.
Yeah, 100%. Like the amount of information that the products have, like as I said, there's temperature sensors, there's backup fiber, like it's out of control what they have just to make everything safe. And plus, as you said, the Clean Energy Council, new products take 9 months for them to get registered. Is that how long? So that's the testing process. Yeah, they take a lot of time to go through all the documents and everything. So, they are. Yeah, I wouldn't, as you said, I wouldn't have them in my house if they weren't safe.
Yeah, exactly. And we've got time for one more question. And this one here actually is pretty common. I'm going to be moving probably in about 5 years, so maybe it's not worth the investment. My answer to this is
it adds to it.
Well, his answer to this was my answer to this.
Oh, well, it took too long. What were you pausing for?
I was in thought.
Pausing and
you always say that I speak before my brain processes my thoughts, and then the one time that I actually think about it, he jumps in and answers for me. And then before
you choked up under pressure,
and before you stole my bloody the analogy of going to the beach in the with the cloudy and
you got to get in quick, mate. Got to get in quick.
See, this is why I talk so fast as kids. Every time I took a moment of my time, you jump in there and. No, I'm just joking.
I thought you choked under pressure.
So what I say to people is exactly that. It adds to your house. And what I say to people, I say, look, imagine you had the opportunity to rebuy your house, same house, but it had a solar and a battery hybrid solution on it. Okay? Would you prefer to have that solution on your house or not? Everyone says yes. And now if you look at realestate.com, I'm pretty sure they're a publicly listed company now or owned by a publicly listed company. They've actually got a filter, a solar filter. So why would they put a filter there? It means people are searching for it, right? So if people are searching for it, if you were going to sell your house, one, you're going to limit who you're marketing to, right? So you want it to be marketed to as many people as possible. So anyone that wants solar and batteries, it's not even going to come up in the search. And the second thing is if you had to buy a house, I know if you ever sell your house, person there can basically guaranteed a zero bill till the day they die. But if you're buying a house and you can have a house with a $4,000 a year bill or $5,000 a year bill, or exactly the same house with a $0 bill, which one are you going to pay more for? Which one's going to make it more attractive? So I say to people, the only thing that solar and batteries do is, well, two things. One is lower your bill down, so you're benefiting from day one. And two, you're increasing the value of your house. We spend so much money on less honorable things, right? It's the same people that have a nice car. Well, you didn't have to buy that car. You could have bought a 10-year-old Chinese jumbuck ute. You didn't because, you wanted that nice car. So when you're looking at something that's an investment, you're buying a solar and a battery hybrid solution, it's at least adding as what you pay for it value to your house, and it's knocking your bill out. And what happens when most people say they might move? More than 70% of them don't move. Why? Because moving's a pain in the bum. You got to pack up, you got to clean up, then you sell your house, you got agents' fees,
Find a new one.
2.5%, 40, 50,000 in agent fees, and then stamp duty. Stamp duty's 50, 60, 70,000. So you've got to pay an extra 100,000. Okay? So a lot of people don't end up moving when they think about it, and then they miss the boat. So that's what I'd say to people. Even if I was moving next year, I'd buy it. It's going to make my house more marketable.
Yeah.
It's going to sell for
Another
more.
feather in the cap for it.
Another feather in the cap. Exactly. So look, I say to people, the really the most expensive myth. Do you know what it is? That third time hit that. You know what the most expensive myth?
What is it?
The one that stops you from doing nothing.
Oh.
Yeah. Gio wrote that on my piece of paper. See, he's laughing behind me. He's just shaking around.
He liked
that one. Guys, look at anything. With us, you're just dealing with real people. You're not dealing with this massive corporate company that doesn't have any controls in place. You're not dealing with shoddy operator that's just a sales company. Look, you're dealing with real people, like a family business that knows what they're doing. So if you've got any questions, you've got any quotes that you need, go to solarsurge.com.au. Look, we've got a free quote there. We'll give you a call, send you an email, whatever it might be. Just get the right advice. If you're not in our servicing area, just email us solutions@solarsurge.com.au. Get that checklist. And look, if there's another myth that you can think of that you might want answered, just put a comment down here and we'll take it and we'll have a look at it and we'll put it into one of our next videos as well. Do you have anything else to add to our wonderful viewers?
No, I think we got some good myths and information out there.
All busted.
Yeah, all busted.
All busted.
Mythbusters.
Mythbusters. Solar busters. Yeah. See you guys.
See ya.